What's up, guys? Welcome back to, I guess this is part 2 of the video series. I guess it'll be a series. So yeah, the previous video I went through some of the foundation stuff that I would do for a brand new project. We have looked through some analytics. We have looked through all the Google properties of this brand. And yeah, I'm just gonna carry on with the marketing. Yeah, I guess I have no idea what series to call this. Let me know if you have any ideas that can get people to click and watch. But yeah, I kind of enjoy doing series like this. So yeah, let's just get started, shall we? So yesterday we looked at a bunch of stuff. We looked at the performance overall for analytics, for Google Search Console, for the Google Business Profile, and also their current performance. And yeah, I just got a landscape of what the entire website it's how it's performing. So based off of what we found yesterday, there wasn't much to do with the Google Analytics 4. Google Search Console is also nothing much to do there. They have set up. I mean, I was the one who helped them to set it up. So if you want to learn like how to set up analytics and Google Search Console, or how I set things up on GA4 and GSC, let me know. Maybe I'll create a video around that if it's helpful. But yeah, today I'm just gonna start off. Like I mentioned, everything is free flow here. So I'm just gonna work on those that I think it's a priority. And so for today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with their Google Business Profile. So for local businesses, Google Business Profile is really important because people will be calling, they will usually look at map pack of a local business service. So for example, like funeral service, right? They are going to look at the local map pack. So yeah, I'm going to focus on their Google Business Profile today for a start. So let's go ahead and go over to Google Business Profile and head over to the brand. And here we go. Okay, so yesterday we have identified some stuff that we can change. I probably want to change the name and the rest of the stuff. So yeah, let's start. So first of all, I don't like the business category, and I mean, this is okay, but I do want to include like some kind of keyword in here. And young bereavement services. Okay, let me go in and take a look at their website. I mean, I already have their website open up here. What am I doing? Okay, so one thing on, especially for local business, right? I'm gonna write all the notes down here. Yeah. So for Google Business Profile, it's a few things that you need to take note on if you are optimizing for a local service or if you're optimizing for your own website. Firstly is their NAP. So name, address, and phone number. Okay. Ideally, you also want to have website here. And all this should be consistent, meaning to say their name on their site everywhere should be consistent. Address should be consistent, phone number and website should be consistent across the entire World Wide Web. So let's say, for example, their name. You can see here, this is their name, right? And then if we look at this here, this is their name, but it's also, this Chinese is also part of, this is different from this, okay, because this one has no Chinese in here. So yeah, I think what I want to do is I want to look at what are some of the competitors doing, and this gives you a rough idea of how we can do things. So okay, let me see if people type in this, okay, because I don't think people type in bereavement services. I think they're gonna type in something like funeral, because yeah, I think this word here, this term here is not something most people use. And so I'm guessing like the search volume for this is very low. And you can see like even map packs doesn't appear at the top. Okay, and when you're browsing, I'm not sure why this is suddenly in dark mode. Yeah, I've been having this issue where sometimes it's just in, light mode, and then when I do a search, it becomes dark mode. I've tried changing some of the settings, but I don't know why. But yeah, if you know, if you know what's going on, just let me know. So yeah, I don't think people are typing in this, and usually from the SERPs, which is search engine results page, which is what you're seeing here, it will tell you what Google wants, and what Google wants is what they think users want. So yeah, so you can see when I type in this, even though it's services, there is no map pack showing up here. Right? It's a lot of organic results first, and then the map pack is all the way below. Whereas I'm guessing if I type in something like funeral services, okay, then we get a lot of sponsored ad. Yeah, and then you can see the map pack straight away. It's not at the bottom of the page. Yeah. So I'm guessing people type in funeral service more because even advertisers are advertising on this keyword versus this keyword. Nobody's advertising on this keyword. Say this is also an indication to tell you, like, in terms of demand, highly likely when you look at a search term and a lot of advertisers are advertising on that particular search term, this gives you an indication. It's not a direct judgment. I mean, it's not it's a judgment of some sort, but it's not a confirmed judgment, if you will, but it's an indication of how that keyword behave. So if you see a lot of advertisers are bidding on a specific keyword, the reason why they could be bidding on that keyword is because it's giving them ROI. Because when they spend money on this particular keyword, they get leads coming in, which convert to sales, and hence they want to continue bidding on that keyword. And that's why people are bidding on that keyword. And usually if one brand is doing it, if it works for one brand, it's going to work for another brand that is providing the same services. And so they, and that's why like people, like brands bid on keywords, right? So that's an indication to tell you that behavior of the keyword, right? The reason why people are bidding on that keyword is because highly likely it's giving them some kind of ROI back, whether if it's leads or whether if it's sales. Okay. So, and if you see a keyword like this and there's no ads coming up here, highly likely the reason why nobody's bidding on this keyword, again, it's not confirmed, but it could be the reason why could be because there is no ROI, there's no benefit to bidding on this keyword. Okay. So this is just an assumption. Usually that's the case, but sometimes, for example, it doesn't mean that when you see services, like for example, in this case, nobody's bidding for this keyword. This does not mean that, this does not mean that it's 100% true that this keyword is not going to bring any ROI. This could mean that, this is a keyword that nobody is bidding on, and this could be a low-hanging fruit, right? So if you were to bid on this keyword, maybe you can get some leads. And so you have to use some kind of data to back it up. And sometimes even data is not enough. You have to run it and see whether if that works or didn't work, right? So yeah, I don't know why I am going on I'm going on a rant here, but yeah, this is some ideas of when I look at a keyword, when I look at SERPs, these are some of the things that go through my mind to let me know, okay, what keywords I could be focusing on, which keywords I know will highly likely be valuable to the business, and which keywords maybe we can explore that is maybe a low-hanging fruit, right? So that's what's going through my mind when I look at like SERPs. But yeah, I digress. So let's see. So yeah, I'm guessing nobody is bidding on this keyword, and highly likely this keyword is going to have very little search volume. So we just use a keyword tool here. Yeah, you can see like it's very, very, there is no search volume here. Yeah. So again, this proves the point of like, people are not, it doesn't get a lot of search volume, and that's why people are not bidding for it. So yeah, I may want to, let's try funeral services, right? And see what are some of the competitors doing. So Embrace Funeral Service Private Limited. So this is the brand. Celestial Funeral Services. I don't think this is the brand. Let's just open some of this up. So you can see all of them have funeral services in here. Funeral services. So let me go to Seng Heng. Celestial Funeral Services, right? So they have like the brand in here. True Complete Funeral. Let me see their brand name. Eternal FS. So FS stands for Funeral Services, right? And then when you look at their, so they don't have the private limited in here. Seng Heng Celestial Funeral Services. Yeah, so this is the name of the actual business. Eternal Funeral Services. This is also the brand name. So a lot of these brands have the term funeral services in their brand name. So it's kind of tricky here because if we were to want to compete in this map, which is where it's going to get a lot of clicks, we have to have funeral services within this page. However, the brand name is Young Bereavement Services. So there isn't funeral services in here. So Yeah, that's gonna be kind of tricky for me to include it in, but let me just take a look at what some other businesses are doing. So sponsored ads saying here. Yeah, so you can see here Cascade FairPrice Private Limited, funeral services in Singapore. So this is a play on a keyword. So we could do something like that. Yeah, because the brand, the actual business name is Cascade FairPrice Private Limited. But this is the keyword that they have included in here. Singapore Funeral Group, Empathy Funeral Service. Going to take a look with the FS. Yeah, I think what we can do is we can do without the one interesting note is usually you don't see this, but you don't see like Chinese characters or other types of characters, but it may or may not work. So yeah, I'm trying to explain my thought process on every single thing that I do. So usually when I see foreign characters, right? The first thought is I want to remove the foreign characters because usually when we optimize, it's usually for English-based businesses. And so we focus on just the English. However, we do have to take note of the industry that they are in and also their market. So with funeral services, because funeral services covers like a lot of stuff, like we have Hindu, you have for, Christian services, Christian funeral services, and all these religion, right? And then there's like Chinese religion as well, like Buddhist services. And with this group of people, usually, there are going to be people that may be searching for things in Chinese because that's what they are, because that's just who they are, right? In the Buddhist community, like Chinese speaking group of customers. So what I want to do is instead of just removing this, I want to see, first of all, what does this even mean? Does this mean funeral services? Google Translate. Okay, so this means funeral services in Chinese. So what I want to do before I want to delete this, right? I want to go in and check and see if there is any search volume here. So there is not a lot of search volume, 30, but I don't know if people are searching. Yeah, there isn't a lot of search volume. And one thing I like to do, okay, so this is slightly more advanced, but I'm just going to narrate my thought. So one thing is every time when you're checking for a keyword, right? Let's say, for example, this is where is the keyword that I was checking? So this is the keyword that I'm checking, right? And you can see like there's no search volume, not much search volume, right? 30, not that many. It's almost one a day, which is kind of like the bare minimum for you to like select a keyword to target. But this may not be the keyword that this may not be the right keyword to analyze because this is the volume for this keyword, but that doesn't mean that it's the volume for the search volume for the entire keywords that is around this keyword. Well, in a sense, this may not be the parent keyword, right? This may just be a secondary keyword and the primary keyword could be something else, right? Let's say, for example, since we're using this, right? Funeral services, and then we have, let's say, Hindu funeral services, and then XXX funeral services, and then YYY services, right? So this is the primary, and then all these are secondary, okay? And what I'm trying to say is when you look at this, when you're analyzing a keyword, usually primary keywords have a higher search volume, right? And when you're analyzing secondary keywords, they usually have lower search volume. This is usually the case. And again, don't quote me on this because you still have to do your own research. Sometimes it's not the case. Most of the time it is, right? So what I'm trying to say is this could be the secondary keyword, which is why there's a search volume. There's very little search volume. But at this moment in time, I still do not know whether this is a low search volume keyword, right? And one way for you to kind of see whether is there a primary keyword is by doing what I'm about to do. So you type in this keyword into Google, okay? And what you do is you take kind of like the first 3 or first 2 results and you put this inside a keyword explorer, okay? And this will show you the keywords that this page is ranking for. If I go to keywords, yeah, and you can see here, even though I have no idea what this means, this is Singapore, and I think this is funeral service, right? Yeah. So this has keyword. This has a higher search volume. So this allows you to see like overall if there's any keywords that you're missing out for that is related to the keyword that we're trying to analyze in a sense, right? So this is an indication that is telling me that maybe there is a keyword here, but again, you have to do your own analysis, because you can see here, this is funeral service and this is the country, right? And they could be searching for the brand, because it's literally the brand name, Singapore Funeral Services, which is a great job by them, because, yeah, this is an exact match to me. So yeah. Singapore Cascade, Singapore Funeral Services, Singapore Funeral Parlor. Okay, so this could be a potential keyword to target actually. But yeah, this could be a parent keyword. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain my thought process again. So when you look at a keyword that could be a branded term, right? Because you don't want to rank for a branded term, because when somebody, let's say for example, if a good way to see this is if, let's say, let me think about this. Let's see. Okay, let's just use this example, right? So let's say Singapore Funeral Services Private Limited, right? If this is the business name, okay? And the keyword here is Singapore Funeral Services, okay? Now, if you see a keyword like this, okay, you need to determine whether is this going to be more branded, meaning to say, are people searching for this as a brand, or are they searching because they are looking for a service? Now, this is a good example because it could fall in the middle. Sometimes it's very, very obvious, right? Let's say, for example, ABC software, okay, right? And you see ABC software, right? This is and if let's say you are a software company, right? So if you were to rank for ABC software, it's going to be useless, because when people are typing in ABC software, they're actually looking for the brand. So even though you're ranking on first page, it's not going to, get you a lot of relevant traffic, because people are typing in ABC software, they are looking, it's a navigational keyword, meaning to say they are looking for that brand. And when they're looking for something, they're going to click on whatever they're looking for, right? So if you rank for this keyword on the first page, even if you rank for on the first page, chances are you're not going to get any relevant clicks. And secondly, you will not be able to rank on, let's say, the first 3 position, because Google serves users what they want. And when users are looking for ABC software, they are looking for ABC software. And that's why on Google will serve them exactly what they want, usually on the top few positions, sometimes even the whole page. So it's going to be impossible for you to rank for ABC software. Now, this is different if, let's say, it's going to be ABC software versus, let's say, your software. Like a keyword like this, you can definitely rank for it because the intention is different, right? But this is a branded term. You do not want to rank for this. Okay. Now, when it comes to these type of keywords, because it's a play here, the brand itself is the services. It's what people are typing in. So in order for you to kind of decide, like, okay, so is this a branded term, or is this not a branded term? Is this just what people are searching for? Sometimes it's almost impossible for you to just know exactly. And what you can do is you can use Google to kind of give you a rough idea of what do users want when they type in Singapore Funeral Services. Are they looking for the brand, or are they looking for the service? Right? And so this is one way of how you can do it. You can look at SERPs. So for example, now before I open up this shows you like the first page, and you can, if you don't have a keyword tool, you can just type in the keyword into Google and just basically see like the results. But I'm gonna walk through with you some of the things that you see and the indications first. So when you are looking through a keyword, what's going to happen is when you open up the SERPs, you're going to see like obviously like the results on the first page. If you see the top 3 positions or the top few positions, they are occupied by the brand, right? In this case, like for example, if they are occupied by this brand, okay, like the homepage is on the first page. Obviously, like now we see this is on the the homepage is on the first position, and this is on the second position, and then you can see like the third position is also by this company. It's just their brand. Highly likely, this is a branded search term, right? When people are searching for this, highly likely, it's going to steer towards, the intention is people are looking for this brand, which means it's a navigational branded search term, right? But if you don't open this up and you see like the first position, it's by another company, and then it's just a mixture, right? All the other brands are offering the service, right? Are offering Singapore Funeral Services, and they just have this as their keyword in their page titles, right? And this gives you an indication of, okay, people are looking for this as a service because Google is serving them different service providers. Okay, if that makes sense. So sometimes it's going to be very obvious, other times it's going to have a mixture, and you kind of have to, there's no right or wrong way to go about it. You just have to make your own analysis and then decide on what you want to do with it and then optimize it, test it. If it doesn't work, you can always pivot, right? So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to open this up. And yeah, you can see this is so all of them are Chinese language. Now, this is another brand, right? Singapore Casket. This is owned by another brand. This is in second position. And this is a keyword they have in their page title. This is just this is a keyword. So already, like you can see, it's a mixture of different brands, right? It's a mixture of, you see this brand. This is a Facebook property. So what I'm seeing is I don't think this is a branded search term. We can actually go for this search term. However, okay, another thing that I think is useful. So if you look at a search term and you see like, okay, now that I've gone through this and I've analyzed it, it seems like this search term is going to be more towards like a service-based search term, which means we can target for it. The next thing you do not want to do is just include this in one of your pages, because you have to decide, okay, so this is a search term that you can target. How is the best way that you can rank for this search term, right? And the best way to rank for this search term is not just to go and include it in your page title or like one of your pages and call it a day, because that's not going to work. Now, if you look at the search results here, again, Google usually tells you what users want, right? And when you look at the search results here, first of all, most of the results here are Chinese-based, right? Second of all, if you can see how the search results is set up, all of them have Chinese language in here, especially like the first two, right? Even the third one as well. They have even this, right? Yeah, all of this actually, yeah. See, all of the ranking pages have a Chinese version of a site. You can see here, question mark, language equals ZH. This is Chinese. This is, I forget what's the term called, but this is a modifier to show you that this website has a Chinese version on it. This one you can see question mark locale equals ZHCN. This is Facebook, so we can ignore this, but you can see this ZH. ZH is a language code or a country code, one of them. That's an indication for Chinese, right? And you can see here, you can see ZH, right? So this tells you that yes, there is a market for the Chinese audience, but you don't just want to include it in your page title because it's not going to be relevant, right? You want your pages to be as relevant as much as possible. And when people are searching for Chinese, when people are typing in Chinese characters into the web, into Google, they want to see Chinese-based results. And if we serve them a page that is all English-based, they are not going to think it's relevant, right? Because you have to think of the end user when they're experiencing their whole search journey. Okay, so yeah, you do not just want to include this straight away inside the page title, okay, of your pages. You need to, in this case, we need to have like a separate version. We need to have a Chinese-based version for the site to capture all this kind of like traffic. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And if I go this is, I think this is funeral. Let's go into, what's this? Funeral platinum. Oh, okay, so this is funeral. Okay, we're going to take a look. So this could be a search. This could be a meaning, like people are searching for the meaning. Yeah, you can see Wikipedia. What is this? Biker. Yeah, this is I think is also this is a definition. Right, usually for a search term like this, that is very short. Yeah, it's usually for the definition of what this term is. So this is not going to be relevant. This funeral, I have no idea. This is, let me just check it out. Okay, funeral parlor. 殡仪馆. Okay, so funeral parlor. This could be relevant. Yeah, again, this is, Wikipedia is showing up on the first page. And you can see the traffic that they're getting. It's not that much. I do want to open this up and take a look. And what is this? Okay, so this is, I think this is price. Yeah, so this is cost. So this is definitely bottom of the funnel. Okay, so now what I'm going through is I'm looking at all these keywords and kind of like doing the same process as what I did for this primary one, right? I'm looking through the intent to see whether if it's going to be relevant that we can use, and trying to find out if this is these are keywords that we we can essentially target. So this is cost, right? And this usually anything to do with pricing and cost, usually it's very relevant because they fall under the bottom of the funnel where the consumer or the search is at a place where they're ready to purchase and they're just trying to find out what's the cost like, right? So this is definitely going to be useful. And if we look at SERPs, yeah, all this is probably going to be a competitor. I think this is going to be a competitor as well. I think all these will be competitors, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think all these are competitors. These two belongs to the same brand. All of them belong to the same brand actually. Memorial Garden. Yeah, I think this is one keyword that we potentially can target. However, I'm not gonna do this first because again, everything is about priority. If I were to implement this right now to capture all these Chinese-based keywords, that means to say we will need to create a Chinese-based version of the site, which means to say we need to come up with a site architecture for the entire Chinese version site, which means to say we have to design the website. We have to design each individual pages. We have to decide what pages we need to design the page, develop the page, optimize the page, right? So that's a lot of things to do. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do that for now, right? But if this was a brand that have all the resources, they have developers, they have, a design team, and they are okay to do it, they have the resources to do it, then that's one way. And if they are looking at a place where they are looking to capture more traffic online, then this is what we would need to do next, because all these are our customers, right? Our Chinese-based customers. So yeah, again, I digress. What were we doing beforehand? I think we're trying to see whether do we include like the Chinese-based keywords in here. I'm guessing we don't need to actually. Yeah, we don't need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some changes to. Yeah, I'm going to make some changes to this young bereavement service. Yeah, so it's going to be kind of difficult because, okay, what I want to do, right, it's, okay, I'm going to decide on an NAP for them, their name for them. It's going to be young bereavement services. So this is their current one, right? So I am definitely going to do without the Chinese version. Let's see. Actually, let me take a look at the Chinese, this one first. Yeah, so the map pack doesn't even show up here. Shows up at the end. So this is probably, why is this in, okay, let me just do this here. Yeah, it's showing up at the end though. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do without the Chinese version of the site. So I'm going to be removing this and then keeping this here. But here's the tricky part, because this the main keyword I'm trying to go for is this, right? Funeral services. However, they already have services here. And so this is kind of tricky. So what I can do is I do not want to have like young bereavement funeral service. I don't want it to be duplicated, right? Yeah, I want it to be, I generally don't like things to be duplicated, or I want it to be unique. And because Google doesn't want duplication of some sort. If something is very, very similar to each other, it usually confuses Google, and that's kind of like the whole general guideline, if you will. When we do technical audits, when we look at pages that are very similar, Google also thinks that they are very similar, and that's why like they don't know which page to rank and things like that. So as a general rule of thumb, you want things to be as unique as much as possible. So down to the keyword level, I don't want to have services here and services here. Okay, so let's say if I were to do this, let me see if I can change this to Singapore Funeral Services. Yeah, let me see if I can change this to this, right? And I'll do without the Chinese, and just see how we go. Because again, sometimes Google changes your titles from time to time, and that's fine. So let's just change this to this first, Singapore Funeral Services. Yeah, so I'm definitely, so now that we know this, we know that there's a Chinese search volume, and we don't want to rank for the Chinese version first, because our website is not at a place where we can rank for the Chinese version. But now what I want to do is I want to see whether the different variations, which variations have more search volume. So I'm going to do something like that to check. Because if Singapore has a search volume, I want to include the term Singapore in there. Okay, what is this? What is this? Direct funeral services. Okay, let me just open this up. So this has 1001. That's a lot. What is direct? Okay, so this could be a brand name. Yeah, so you can see direct funeral services. Private Limited. And again, so earlier on, like I mentioned, right, in the example, to decide whether if it's a branded term or not, you can see, right? This is owned by the brand. This is owned by the brand. Brand. Okay, it's taking too long to load. But you can see like the top two positions are owned by the brand. So this is not owned by the brand, but they're trying to. So this is what I mentioned earlier, right? Like this, like you can see these two are owned by the brands, right? Okay, so one more advanced tip that I can give you guys, if you want to kind of like be more accurate in a sense, is to, well, I'm going to show you later, but let me explain this first. So you can see this brand, what they're trying to do is they are trying to target for this particular keyword, right? Which may or may not work because, they are not on the first two positions and they are on the, the fourth and fifth position, right? So you can see that they are on these two. And then there's a lot of other brands that are ranking, but they are below the page, right? Bottom of page 1. So what they are trying to do is, all these other brands, they're trying to target for this keyword, direct funeral services. Okay. So this may or may not work, like I mentioned, because they could be getting traffic and they could be like people could be typing in direct funeral services looking for the services and not the brand, right? But this is an indication that is telling me that highly likely people who are typing in direct funeral services, they are looking for the brand because it's occupied by, firstly, the brand, and secondly, this is another brand asset, right? So that it's one assumption I have currently. Now, if you go into, let's say, the other brands, they are not the brand itself, right? You can kind of see, okay, are they having success from ranking for this keyword, which is direct funeral services? And one way you can look at it, it's how much traffic does this page currently get. You can see 55, traffic value not worth a lot, and the rest are like very little, right? So this is the only one that I want to further analyze to see whether if, let's say, we were to rank for this page and rank for this keyword, what kind of success could we see? And if we were to open this page up, and you can see what keywords is this page showing up for. So you can see like direct funeral services private limited. This is very, very clear cut. It's a direct, it's not a direct keyword. It's an exact keyword for a branded term, right? So even if they rank for this, it's not going to matter because, they are not going to capture this traffic because people are searching for the brand, right? Whereas for this, for example, direct funeral, right? They are in position 4 and you kind of just walk through the same process, right? You can see this is also owned by the other brand, and then direct cremation, okay, funeral services, yeah. Direct cremation, direct funeral service. Yeah. So it seems like there isn't much. It's not exciting to rank for this keyword because most people, maybe this one, direct cremation Singapore, because this keyword it's not the exact match for the brand, right? The brand is direct services, direct funeral services. So direct funeral could be also a branded term, but direct cremation is a totally different term. And that's why you can see like, this is a good example. The brand doesn't appear anymore. And that's why they are higher up in the SERPs, right? The brand doesn't appear anymore. Direct funeral services doesn't appear anymore. Maybe they are at the bottom, okay? But they are definitely not here. So this is one keyword that you can potentially target, direct cremation. But yeah, there's not a lot. Like direct funeral services could also be looking for this service. Direct cremation could also be one that you could target under this as a service page, but yeah, it's not showing me like a lot of signs that we could go and rank for direct funeral services. However, another additional way that I mentioned earlier that you can confirm is you want to see for this search term how long has the brand been occupying the first few positions? Because if they have been occupying for the first few positions for like a long time, then that's an indication to let you know that, since 2 years or 3 years ago, searchers who are typing in this term has been looking for the brand for many years. And history also gives you a good estimation of how users are behaving. So if you go over to, let's say the how long have they been ranking for this keyword, right? You can go over to their keywords, okay? So direct funeral services is the keyword that we want to look at, okay? And then you just want to click on their rankings. And you can see since 2022, they have been on position 1, 2, 1, 2, like, yeah. So very, very likely people who are searching for this term are looking for a company. Because you can see since 2022, they have been on position 1, 2. Now, if they have not been on position 1, 2, if they have been dropping to like 9, 8, 9, and then 1, and then 3, this could also give you an indication of, hey, maybe users who are searching for direct fitness services, they are looking for different types of service providers and not the brand. But this is telling me otherwise. Yeah, so that's kind of like how I will analyze whether, do we want to go for a specific page or not. So yeah, again, I digress. What was I talking about? Yeah, so we're looking at, do you want to include Singapore in the search term? And I think I do, because even the search term with Singapore, there is a decent search volume here. So I can also go and open up to see. Yep, so I definitely want to include Singapore in there. Not Cascade. Yeah, definitely Singapore in there. So back to here. Singapore Funeral Services. If I were to be a little bit more picky, I would like think of, which placement do I want to put in Singapore? Do I want to put it after the funeral services or in front? But I think I'm not gonna be that picky. It's not gonna impact a lot. There's no reason for me to decide. There's no reason for me to prioritize the placement of the word Singapore here, because I'm not seeing anything significant. And I'm not seeing like the keyword difficulty is way more difficult for a particular search term. 33 to 25, it's very similar. 600, 400, it's not much of a difference. So yeah, here's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to include like Singapore Funeral Services Young Birth. I'm going to do this. This will be the name. Okay. And then the address. So yeah, so this is going to be the address. Address is already here. Okay. And I usually do this on a Google Sheet because sometimes I need to present it to the partners that I work with. But since this is like a project for a friend, I am going to just do this on the fly. And the website this is the site. Copy. And email address, and we have a phone number. Done. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go and edit the profile. Okay, let's close all of this. Yeah, so just by analyzing all of this is going to take like so long. So yeah, I think I'm going to, you know what? I think I'm going to stop here because I think just going through all this analysis of deciding what name to put, it has already took like 50 minutes. Yeah, so yeah, I guess the next step will be to, let me record this down here, optimize Google Business Profile. Yeah, so the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to optimize the Google Business Profile. So this is probably going to be the next part. And yeah, I think I'm going to stop here for now. Yeah, and continue it a little bit for the next day. So as you can see, like there's a lot of things that goes down before like even optimizing, because you don't just want to, include in a keyword because it's not going to help in any way, right? You want to make sure that it's optimized at a place where you can score out of 100 points. You want to score as much as possible. I don't believe you can score 100 out of 100 because it's always a moving goalpost, meaning to say whatever that you're doing now, it's what users want now, today. Right now, I'm doing this in 2024. This is what users are looking for, or this is what they want in 2024. Doesn't mean that it's what they want in 2025, 2026. And that's why it's always a moving goalpost. But as much as you can, you want to optimize it. You want to score out of 100 marks. You want to score as high as possible based off on the criteria when you're doing the optimization, right? But it's always changing. So it's never going to be 100 because essentially, the next year or the next 2 years, the entire test could change. Your optimization will need to change then. So yeah, hopefully you like this type of videos. Let me know if there's anything that you're not sure of. It's going to be difficult for me to explain it in comments. So, but yeah, just leave your questions anyway. And yeah, if there's a better way if there's any better ways that you would do things, let me know as well. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Yeah. So that's about it. Stay safe, take care, and see you in the next video. Cheers.